night. As usual, you guys said 9 p.m. is a good time. So we're continuing to experiment with that, seeing how our numbers go, especially on TikTok. And if you notice, our topic for today is something that I've been very vocal on my reels and my TikTok videos. And that is tonight's topic is managing and navigating and using up your leave and negotiating how that works out with your manager who probably wants you to not consume any leave at all because you need to finish your work and your projects. Okay, let's do a quick attendance check. By the way, folks on, oops, let me check if my audio is working. Checking. Let me see, by the way. Mic test. Is my audio working? Just checking if folks are hearing my audio. TikTok folks, could you give me an exclamation mark if my audio is working? Same thing also. Folks from Facebook, folks from YouTube, folks from LinkedIn. Okay, it's all working. By the way, I'm going to be apologizing for a bit on folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You may notice that my resolution isn't as good. That's because I'm using a different laptop. I'm in my parents' house. And if you notice, I'm in a mini office. This is the guest room of my parents' place. So I'm just borrowing my sister's laptop, but I still get to use my phone. That's why I think I have good resolution on TikTok. Okay. So let's do a quick attendance check. Let's see. Could you please type in the chat box which city, which province, which country are you typing from? Just so we get to share each other's locations and we get to visualize where our participants are coming from. Let's look at that. So I have folks, Imelda says hello. Erwin is from LinkedIn and is watching from Dublin. Chiclet is watching from Lipa. Hello. Lucky says audio is working. Thank you. Mabel also says there you go. We were out for a bit on Facebook, but now I'm back. Ted Malvar is coming from Alberta, Canada. Mabel's also from Coronadal City. Anne is from Tondo. Coming from Tondo, by the way, Moriones. Lived there for 17 years with my parents. Rigel is from Sucat. Gigs is from Davao de Oro. Joanna from LinkedIn is from Calamba City in Laguna. Thank you for joining us as well. Yanni from TikTok is from Iloilo City. We also have Jobel from Novaliches. Someone's asking me, galing mo mag-English. Okay, thank you. That's my brother, by the way. And I now have 2 dogs here with me. I finished economics degree from Diliman. Heidi is watching from Bulacan. Myla is from Pasig. Christy is from Guimaras. Risan is from Cavite. Si Siana, sabi niya, she's from La Union. Mikey Mouse from TikTok says he's from Malibay in Pasay City. Valerie also says, hi. Sherwin is from Mabalacat City in Pampanga. You know, I spent the Labor Day holidays in Bulacan. My best friend has a resort called Balay Alegria. Had an amazing fun. The also other reason why my voice, if you notice, is bedroom voice is because we had 3 days full of one-day workshops. So for 3 days straight, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I was speaking, and my voice just gave up on me. Also went to a club on Saturday night, kept on shouting, and that's why my voice is like a husky bedroom voice, which I need to get back soon because I need to speaking for another client. Okay, a Luge04 from TikTok says, hello, sir. First time to see you live. Thank you. First time to also see you here. Hello, Cynthia says, hello, Sir Jonathan from Taguig City. Thank you for joining us. Okay, gladiators in suits. I'd like to open the floor now because we need to capture as many questions as we can. I haven't been around for 5 days, I think. 5 days or 4 days. So I want to get back to you and gusto kong bumawi with a lot of questions that are answered. As usual, even if the topic is about managing and navigating your vacation leave, sick leave, whatever leave that you have, you can always ask other questions as long as they are related to your career. Okay? I am not an expert in other fields, although I do think I'm an expert of anime. Pretty much good at that part. Also an expert in, ano pa ba expert ko? Expertise. I love cooking. Also very good with wine. So yeah, and we can talk about those things. But let's stick to the topic. Let's talk about career as much as we can for this session. Okay. So, sabi ni Mr. JPEG, earning a lot. Is that earning or learning? Learning a lot from this speaker. That's why I believe there are no boring seminars, only the speaker. Thank you. If my understanding is correct, that you were giving us good comments on that. Thank you. Nol says, Sir John, you'll be here. Okay. So, team, let's start our session now. Uh, I'm also thanking, by the way, participants who have already liked. If you haven't yet liked, commented, or given us a heart in this specific live, please do so. We would appreciate that. TikTok folks, very thankful because right now we have 1,300 likes. And Facebook, come on, guys. LinkedIn, YouTube, you guys have to give me more than this. I need more likes. I need more hearts. That will be amazing because it can improve our algorithm so we can reach more to other audiences. Okay, so I'm gonna float this for a few seconds now. Give us a question, start typing them. Also, if you notice, my brother's dog is here. You see that? Oh, you can't see him now. TikTok folks, I think will be able to see that from this part. Cairo, come here. So Cairo is an adopted dog. Come here. Up. Let's show your face to the. Oh no, Tanjiro is so. Let's see that. Okay, come, Cairo. Up. There you go. So does everyone see Cairo? I don't think. Ooh, Cairo, come here up, so others can see you. There you go. Let's bring Cairo here. So Cairo is a half terrier, but we don't know the other half because he's an adopted dog from a warehouse. And he's the cousin of Tanjiro, who you may have seen many times in my videos. Tanjiro is here on the floor, but we're going to feature Cairo for now. He looks a bit dirty, but that's because his hair is just really like this. I don't know why. So if you can notice that hair part, that's the terrier part. But again, we don't know the other half. Okay, Cairo, let's go down now, baby. Let's put you down here. Okay. Yanni saying, hoping can join again the leadership session at the SMX. Thank you. More learnings to come. Thank you. I hope you get to join our future sessions as well. Jaber is asking, which website is the best reference for building resumes or CVs? You know what? What I would recommend instead is go to Google search, type templates for resumes or CVs, and then indicate which position are you applying for. I would vouch for that because usually the SEO, meaning the search engine optimization, is already good in 2023. You can easily find so many resume samples that you can use as your reference. Half terrier, half Egyptian, says MTD South. Not sure. I'm actually not familiar with the Egyptian breed, by the way. So I'm going to Google that later on. Okay. One more question here. So, guys, I'm just reading questions now from all folks. From Kapitan Yoji on Twitter. How to get motivated if your company offers nothing than good benefits, only that? There are two perspectives I would like to consider. One is there's one thing that you enjoy with your company. And if that's going to be benefits, look at the bright side that not all companies are able to give that. The second one is look at the perspective that you do have a job right now, because most people may be still looking for a job, but aren't able to find a job. Another way of looking at it is if your issue is that you cannot stand the fact that other people may be enjoying more than you do, the question now is, why are you still staying in that company? What is the compelling reason why you remain to stay, even if you think that another place? So I think the only person who can answer that is you, as if that is no longer beneficial, the cost benefit analysis if the benefits that you're getting is outweighed by all the costs in the organization, meaning you have toxic seatmates, you have toxic managers, deadlines are just ridiculously, uh, how do you call this? You can't explain a reason why the company just keeps on dumping work, then I think there's a reason for you to move. Okay. I hope I was able to answer that quickly. Okay, let's look at some more questions here. I'm using Canva for my resume and CVs. Very helpful and user friendly, says Mary Grace. I do agree. Canva has lots of templates, but I only think that they are for the visual portion. However, if it's for the content, so I'll give you a quick tip, guys. If you're crafting your resume and LinkedIn, make sure that the sentences or the bullet points always start with a verb. So, for example, verb in past tense. So, for example, if you were a graphic designer, verb in past tense means created, initiated, executed, launched. That has to be your always starting point, because that means that you have accomplished something in the company. Always be obsessed also with numbers, as long as it's not confidential. When people look at your achievements, they're also always going to look how much and how many. So, for example, if you're a graphic designer, I would write something: executed 250 plus posters on Facebook for 6 months. That's very important for me as an employer, because it gives me a sense of how many works have you accomplished in your past company. Or you can say, for example, uh, delivered 100 banners on Facebook and posters that have garnered more than 100,000 likes and 2,000 comments. Why is that important? It gives me an idea that your posters are not just a one-off, one time, big time. You have consistently accomplished a lot of posters that have been appreciated and have been utilized, perhaps to deliver audiences to whatever event that you were inviting for. Okay? So let's look at some more questions here. Jericho from YouTube is asking, what are the signs that your interview went great, and also the signs that it didn't do well? Ooh, I will use experiences that I've had in the past plus some best practices. Number one, if the interviewer goes off script. When I say off script, they usually have a list of questions to ask, but because they're so interested with you, they ended up asking more questions that likely are not part of their list, but were added because they were just so interested about you. That's one. I think it's also important that if they open the discussion immediately in the middle or at the end of the first interview, they immediately ask questions about compensation, salary, etc., they likely are considering you seriously. And the reason for that is because if they really like you so much, the one thing that they will ask is if they can even afford you based on their budget. Because otherwise, if your asking price is way higher, then they know that there's no point continuing the conversation or even referring you to the next level manager. That for me is a sign that you've had a great interview. What are the signs that it didn't do well? Easily cutting off the interview way too short. Most interviews will be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. An interview that piqued the curiosity of the recruiter can go for as long as 30 minutes. If you're going for high level positions, it can go as far as 1 hour. But it is way too short if the job interview happened for only 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 7 minutes, or if the questions stop to a point that they didn't even ask about your past experiences with your job. And the reason for that is because probably at the very start of the conversation, they don't think you are a fit. And so there's no reason for them to continue the conversation. So that for me isn't a good sign that they're like. Remember, interviews are still all about impressions. Even if your resume or your CV is well decorated, I want to highlight this. It's always going to be about how you speak, how you sound, how you look. how you greet the person, how you answer their question, etc. Okay? Jericho, hope I was able to answer your question. Let's answer one more. Jamaica Gonato is asking, how do you professionally address a manager who triggers you every time you apply for a leave? When I say trigger, for example, in email, when she is looped in with her email to my core worker, she states and says, "Good job for your work and no leaves for the month of May." That was the email that really triggers me not to apply for a leave. Ah, I get triggered when I read these kinds of emails. Why is that? Number one, Jamaica, by the way, I'm gonna take out your uh text from my screen on Facebook because it's covering my face. But a great company will always allow you to take your leaves, no questions asked. And that even includes not even asking what are you going to use your vacation leave for. So when someone already preempts you that you're not supposed to take any vacation leave, it sends a message that this manager seems to be insecure that they will not be able to get the job done because their people are not present. Don't get me wrong. I think that sometimes you have to put some caution not to take a vacation leave when it's budget season, you're about to do a product launch and all these things. But in most situations, I don't think you even have the right from a contract perspective to stop your people to take your vacation leave. Okay? Mabel is asking, are paid times off employee privilege or rights? Uh, I have here my people are wondering why do I have because it's cold. I want to have my air conditioning in full blast so that when I'm sleeping in a while and I'm sleeping here in the bedroom a few meters away from me, I'll be able to sleep well. So I have my blankie already with me. First and foremost, let's look at the Philippine labor law. I want folks to be aware of how it's a right and a privilege in the Philippines. Okay, so I am not fully familiar. I know we have viewers from Malaysia and Indonesia right now, but let me talk about the Philippines because that's where I'm very well versed with. So, in the Philippines, please take note that the government requires companies to only grant their employees up to minimum of five leave. We call that a service incentive leave. And it should only be granted minimum again to employees who have served at least 12 months in the company. What does this mean? The only thing that is mandated by the government from the companies to give you as an employee, and I'm talking about a regularized employee, are 5 days of leave per year. Anything beyond the 5 days is already a privilege. It's a privilege. Privileges and benefits are all the same. I need to highlight that because people are always confusing. Is it a benefit? Is it a privilege? It's all the same. Meaning, it's not your right. It's not up to you to decide, and neither should you complain about it. Okay, I want to highlight that. So I'm going to repeat. You only have 5 days of leave per year, assuming that you have worked in the same company for 12 months. That means if you have moved to another company afterwards and you're only in the company for 2 months, meaning you're still under probation, likely, unless the company is generous, they will ensure and strictly enforce that you cannot yet enjoy your vacation leave. Now, some of you might ask, John, why is it that some companies have 20 days of sick leave, 15 days of vacation leave? Why is it that some companies allow their employees to roll over unused leaves and apply it to the next year? The answer is simple. All of these are discretions. It is born out of the generosity of the company because they believe that their employees are going to be better off if they give as many leaves as they can. But in reality, you cannot ask for more because unfortunately in the Philippines, that's only 5. If I were to compare this to other countries, some countries in Southeast Asia like Malaysia can have as many as 10. Some countries can have 7. Some countries can have 15. In Europe, they can have as many as 30 per year. Interestingly, United States of America, there is no federal law that requires employers to give a leave. Zero in United States. So most of the vacation leave or sick leave that they enjoy are all born out of the generosity. They're all volunteered leave granted by the company. Now, what about paid time off? Some companies no longer label it as vacation or sick leave. For them, it's all the same. I'm going to give you 15 days of paid time off. You decide whatever you want to use with it, regardless if you're sick or on vacation leave. That is not a right because that is a discretion that the company wanted to give to their employees. So I also need to highlight this because I am fully aware that there are so many folks on TikTok and Facebook that whenever I post about this, a lot of them challenge me and say, "What are you talking about? It's my right. It's my right, not a privilege. I am supposed to enjoy my leave as much as you can." And unfortunately, even if I would like to side with you, the answer is it's not a right. It's a benefit. It's a privilege that the company grants to you. More than anything else, it is part of the employee contract that you have signed on when you got onboarded to the company. Which means if you do not like that policy, then don't sign the contract. Then don't work for that company. As simple as that, unfortunately. I'm going to sound harsh, but that's the law of supply and demand when it comes to attracting talents or filtering talents to work for their organizations. Okay? I hope that made it clear from the question of Mabel that says, are PTOs or paid times off or vacation leave or sick leave employee privilege or rights? Technically, if I were to summarize, it's a privilege, it's a benefit. It's not something that you can file as a lawsuit that the company isn't giving you as many as you wish you can get. Okay, let's address some of the questions here on TikTok. Is it right when your supervisor asks you, why are you going on PTO? There are many ways of answering this. They can if they do so, because at the end of the day, it's subject to the approval of any manager as long as they make sure that they are not obstructing the usage of the leaves throughout the year. What do I mean? They can probably deny you of getting that leave on January, but they can get back to you by granting your leave on February because business need isn't as intense as it was in January. I do think, however, that amazing and great leaders do not need to ask if for what reason are you going to use the leaves for, because it's none of our business. It's your personal life. You can do something else. You can cook food. You can go to the hospital. You can travel, whatever it is. I don't care because it's not part of what we do and it's not part of our contract in the organization. You do what you need to do. I do not own your life. This is not a master and slave relationship in the first place. Okay? Let's look. Okay. I haven't answered a few questions on TikTok, so let's answer this. Jenny Austria, by the way, on TikTok says we have 30. Wow, days time off break. That's a lot, by the way. That's a lot. Some companies also have unlimited vacation leave. Granted that people are not going to abuse them as much. Okay, hello, Cynthia. What are your thoughts, sir? After someone has received their bonus, they will resign. That's actually a tactic, and it's not illegal. And I remember when I left my first ever company. So I worked for a telecommunications company a decade ago. Okay. And I remember when I was about to leave, my boss was actually the one, because she cared for me so much. My boss was actually the one who suggested it to me. I understand that you want to leave and I will support you because I think you can only find greener pastures in other companies. And I get that. She understood my situation. And you know what she did? She told me, maybe you can stay for a bit longer so that you can claim 100% of your 13-month pay. Otherwise, if you leave 2 or 3 months before, your 13th month pay is going to be prorated, which is not so good because you're not getting the entire amount of bonus. So yeah, it happens. This is also the reason why, if you notice in the Philippines, there's a big pattern. When April is the 13th month bonus, July or August becomes the 14th month bonus. And for some companies like banks who have 15 days, 15 months of payment per year, their 15th month is on December, you will notice that resignations normally happen after the bonuses are given. Okay, so there's a technical reason for that. Uh, we missed you in MDC, says Christian. Can you remind me which company is this? This is the Makati Development Corporation, which I did a talk to, or are you referring to another company, Christian, on TikTok, by the way? Joseph, can I just quickly answer this? What for you is the best long term? Working abroad, working in the government, or working in a private? It really depends. There is no one specific hard rule to which one suits you best because it will depend on your lifestyle. If you want better standards of living and better social welfare, work abroad because even your hospitalization is going to be covered by a first world country, especially, let's say, in Europe or in Canada or United States or Australia. But if that isn't your issue because I think you're rich enough, I would rather still stay home. And the reason for that is because I am in the company of my friends and families, right? I also think that if you work in the government, the benefits are so good, especially when you're about to resign or when you get older as you go along. So it really depends. I don't think this is answerable by A, B, or C. It's more of like, what's your lifestyle? What are you looking for? And then you choose based on the strengths of each option. Okay. Um, why are, this is from Iris. Am I pronouncing your name right? Iris from Facebook. Why are sick leaves red flags to bosses? For the simple reason that if you cannot prove that you were really sick, you were abusing that leave just because you don't want to go to work. I'm saying that from an employer's point of view because I myself have direct reports. And I often tell my folks, I'm not going to ask you for a medical certificate if you are sick for 1 day, 2 days maybe. But if you've been sick, okay, I'm gonna use that liberally. If you've been sick for 3 days, I want proof that it's not because you just went out to the beach. Because I see you on a you were out from Monday to Wednesday, and then I see you on Thursday, and you have this amazing tan on your skin. I don't think you were sick. I think you were in La Union pretending to be sick. And I don't want you to abuse my kindness and take advantage of that. There's another reason why I don't want to take that. Because during moments when you really are going to be sick, but you have exhausted all of your sick leaves in the past because you were using them for something else, it's going to be unfair for the rest of the company. You are extending the usage beyond what you're supposed to use. And that job gets passed on to your teammates because someone has to fill in for you. Okay? Okay, TikTok again. Let's go back. What time ka normally nagla-live, John? I usually do live at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, but I'm doing live late these days because a lot of the folks are telling me that 9 p.m. is a better time to catch me, which is why I'm doing this session for late night. It's also good for me because I usually go to the gym at 5 or 6 p.m. So this way I don't get to skip that. And because I also have to walk my dog. Okay. Lots of questions on TikTok, by the way. How do you properly, .lj from TikTok's asking, how do you properly haggle your salary in an interview? Okay, my general rule, and that's why I'm calling it as my, because this is my personal template. My general rule is using my salary, I will apply about 20 to 30% increase. And the reason for that is because that is usually the, excuse me, that is usually the expected increase when you move from one company to another. I also think that the 20 to 30% increase is based on the idea that when I transfer to a new company, I am not just laterally moving from one place to another. I am bringing in a new set of skills, perspectives. If the job requires you to work with vendors, third party agencies, and connections, I'm also bringing in that entire set of connections that the company that I am applying for may benefit from. Okay. So consider that increase, that jump, more of as I am injecting a new set of DNA, which a company can benefit from because they will gain perspectives on innovation. They will gain perspectives on new ways of doing things. They will also expand the people that they know through that new employee. Now, I'm going to push the envelope here because a lot of people are probably have thought of this in the past. John, is it legal for a company to ask for my payslip as a reference? Technically, there is no crime to do this. That's why they can get away asking for your payslip. However, what I do recommend is to not give your payslip and rather say, this information is confidential, and even my current company does not allow me to divulge this to any other party. It's still part of my non disclosure agreement, and I don't want to break that part, and I want to respect my current organization. Of course, that's a technicality you're trying to use, it's a card you're trying to raise. But if they really still insist, take note that this can be a potential demerit. Unfair, but a lot of them do that, right? It's a potential demerit wherein they will say, okay, this guy's not fully cooperating, so maybe he's not my top priority for all the candidates. Okay. Why do I discourage you to give away your exact salary amount? And the reason for that is because I don't think it's fair that your future salary is going to be based from your existing salary. Your value is different the moment you transfer from one company to another. You are transferring a new set of skills, techniques, styles, networks, and people. So you're not supposed to be paid the same amount anymore, especially if you are a high flyer and a high performer. Okay? Also, for me, it's a red flag if you're deciding that my amount is based on my past amount. You do not know, therefore, how to evaluate your candidates properly. And that for me is a red flag because that means this recruitment team of company X was not properly trained. And therefore, I am not sure if they are fairly assessing all of their candidates. Okay? That was like 4 questions answered in one question. Ramilito from Facebook is asking this question. We are in a hybrid setup, and the only way to get away with it is fit to work. If you are compromised, if your health is compromised, that is the time that they will grant your request. For your perspective, is this fair? Yes. I don't want to be the enemy here, but please remember, gladiators in suits, when you sign that employment contract, you are telling the company, yes, I agree that you are requiring me to get to the office. You are requiring me to be on site. So, meaning they have the absolute right to decide where you should work, unless it's a matter of emergency that the government is even recommending that employees should not be working for health reasons. You have to understand that in 2023, COVID-19 is no longer a threat. Okay? And so people no longer can say that the reason is because I still feel uncomfortable working in the office. Unfortunately, that's how companies are. And it's still part of the contract that they can always call out as their right. Okay? Now, if you think that it's worth working for another company that allows you work from home, the question now is, can you find a way to move out and look for another company that's allowing you to work from home instead? That's the only way. And that remains to be fair also. Okay. Abby's asking, if you have long-term conflict with your boss, is it and the work is getting toxic, is it okay to quit without job lined up? No. I would say 80%. I will definitely not do it, and that's because if your issue is money, and you are concerned that you might exhaust all of your savings. And sometimes it doesn't only take weeks, sometimes it will take 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. I know a lot of people who can't even find a job within a year. If money is an issue, then you're going to be unemployed for a few months, and that can only cause so much stress for you. So if you really want to quit, find a way to manage that stress and anxiety while finding a way to get interviewed and getting signed on to a new job. And when you have signed on to a new job, that should be the only time that you should start resigning and tendering that resignation. Again, don't get me wrong, people are going to call me out. No, if I really feel that I am exhausted, if I really feel that I am tired, if I really feel that I'm starting to get sick, then go ahead. You should quit. I just need to call out that there are moments wherein you're only going to get sicker. You're only going to get more stressed if money becomes an issue because you don't have any job to land on. Okay? So you have to balance both terms. Oh, interesting question from LBR on YouTube. Is it true that company recruiters will have bonuses or higher grades if they hire people with a salary that they offer as little as possible? Two ways of answering this. Number one, technically speaking, it is not the incentive of any company to give only the lowest salaries. And the reason for that is because they are already aware that if you only get the cheapest employees, you may not be getting the best employees also. So there is rather an incentive for them to get the best talent as long as they are within the right budget. But I will also say this. I know a lot of family owned businesses. I know a lot of small SMEs and small business owners wherein they just don't believe that you should be paying so much for an employee. They all think that employee one, two, three, four, five are perfect substitutes. And so whoever's the cheapest, as if they're all just like plastic wrapper, is going to be the employee that I will hire. So that happens. That becomes a direction. I don't think, however, that's in the interest of the employer to give commissions or salaries if ever recruiters get to do that. Okay. And if there is one who does that, I will feel sorry for that person. I don't know how they will be able to sleep at night because that means in order for them to get higher commissions or bonuses, they have to shortchange someone else's life. So their happiness comes at the expense of possible unfairness to someone who works hard for what they do. Okay? I hope I was able to answer your question. Oh, we got lots of TikTok questions here. So let's cover this again. I'm trying to scroll. I'm trying to merge a few questions here because they're almost the same. How will you deal when your company promises you something to prevent you from resigning but did not do it? That's a TikTok question from Argent. It's a bad company. It's a bad company because, number one, it's a lie. If they lured you to believe that you will get promoted as long as you do not resign and they did not do it afterwards, they were being selfish. That was a big lie about spending money. That was a big lie because you probably turned down a very good opportunity somewhere else. And I will never work for that kind of company because that means it's a confirmation that they never considered what's going to be best for my career. I would leave. If I did not get what they promised, I will not even think twice. I will leave. I don't deserve to be treated like that. I am way much better than that. Okay? And that also means that you've been reduced into a number. You've been reduced as a cost. Okay, Doc May says, single taken or building my empire. I have this book of yours. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. It's one of my most emotionally charged books because I spent about 3 chapters about heartbreaks in that book. Okay. Peter John, how do you acquire fluency and public speaking skills? Practice. There is no pill. There is no medicine. There is no nothing. It's all practice. So you have to embrace that it takes years and years. It's gonna be discouraging for some people to hear that it's better to learn speaking a certain language the younger you are, because that means your brain is malleable. But if you're listening to this and you're already past beyond your prime, like in your 30s or 40s, know that it's not too late. You can still harness your ability to speak. So I would encourage you for a starter, try to befriend and be surrounded by people who are very good in English. And the reason for that is because their skills are gonna be transferred to you over time as you talk to them. I would also encourage you to watch a lot of legal TV series. So, for example, How to Get Away with Murder, Suits, or Tanjiro. My dog, by the way, is having a nightmare. Tanji, 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 Tanji. There you go. He's finally awake. Sorry. He's getting those eyelids flickering. Do you know that? I was just concerned. Okay. Um, How to Get Away with Murder, Suits. When I was younger, I would watch Ali McBeal. That's my favorite TV show. My favorite character in that legal TV show was John Cage. He was so good in what he does. He would win cases that were impossible to win. And then I would imitate how they speak. I would try to use that style in my college presentations and then eventually in my work, and then until I was able to create my own style afterwards, because you don't want to become a second rate or a copycat of another person. You still want to become a true version of who you are. Okay, let's ask this question on Facebook, by the way. So this question is from Janet. Janet is asking, Sir, possible po ba bayaran ng company ang mga leaves na hindi nagagamit since COVID-19 started? Hindi po namin nagagamit dahil kulang sa plantilla. Wala po sila nabibigay na reliever. We have 15 VLs in 1 year. Posible po ba bayaran ng company ang mga leaves na hindi nagamit? Unfortunately, this is a discretion of the company. The discretion has the right to decide if they want to encash the leaves or if they don't. Okay? Guys, I just need to pick up my dog because he's not. Let's wait. Tanjiro. Tanjiro. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up first. I need to wake him up because he's not. Wake up. You're having a nightmare. Come on, wake up. Okay. I'm getting scared because he wasn't moving for a while. Okay. What's your advice for companies with a high attrition? Says hello, Cynthia. Look at your people engagement. Likely it's because of culture. It's either two things. It's culture or the compensation. You're not compensating your employees well, whether it's in cash, in kind, or anything that involves hard work versus what they deserve. The culture, on the other hand, is how do people speak? How do they treat when they make mistakes? How are people managed when they're early or they're late in the office? Okay. So attrition is always a symptom of another disease in the company. Okay. Belieza says, I received a gift from my husband, 4 books by John. Can't wait to read them all. Thank you. Our books are available in National Bookstore, fully booked, and Lazada and Shopee as well. So thank you. My favorite, if you guys ask me, is From Grit to Great. That's our first book. And it's a very personal book because it's a semi-autobiography. Anything here is asking, is it okay to leave the office exactly at 5:01 p.m.? In 2023, most companies, not most, but a lot of companies don't even consider anymore if you should leave early or late as long as you get the job done. So a great company should not be counting on what time do you leave, but what output have you yielded during that time. But if your company requires you to spend minimum time in the office because you're using a Bundy clock or because you're counted, then you have to comply, unfortunately. Okay. We're about to finish an hour now, so I'm gonna end this talk. I'm gonna end this live session for last question. I hope that's okay. Okay, Kem Lee, let's capture this as the last question. What will be your advice if you feel outcast on your new company? Hmm. Before I will feel that I am out of place, I will first ask myself, have I exhausted everything to make friends and make connections within my team or even outside the team? Because you have to embrace the fact that if you're the newbie, sometimes people will not be the first one to approach you. Sometimes you have to be the one to approach them instead. So you have to change your mindset. It's not going to be like high school wherein you're going to immediately have a set of clicks. It doesn't work like that. Adults are different people, right? And you have to take that with a professional mindset. Okay? All right. Gladiators in Suits, it's an hour already. I hope alam kong bitin ang ating discussion right now, but do note that we do our live sessions as much as I can. I do it every night at 9 o'clock p.m. here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. So tomorrow, I think I will be able to catch you again. I do think so. So we're going to throw another set of questions, and I hope I get to see you again. In the meantime, if you have any question that you can discuss offline, send me an email, jonathanyabut@gmail.com. And I just want to do a quick announcement as well. If you guys are interested to catch us through our career workshops, so we do have workshops that are happening at SMX Convention Center. That's happening on May 26 to May 27. We have 4 topics. Boost your confidence, since a lot of you are interested about speaking confidently. We have level up your social media marketing. We have email etiquette and business writing. And finally, we have leadership and hybrid work era. If you'd like to join our on-site career workshops, you just need to log on to our website, jonathanyabut.com, so you can get your tickets. Okay, I'll catch you tomorrow, Gladiators in Suits. Good night, and thank you for staying with me. Bye, guys.